your first camera? Let's learn how to use it. This is a free no-frills beginner's tutorial designed to make your camera make sense. Introduction. This is not an easy course, I am going to make that quite clear from the start, but it is not going to make you jump in at the deep end either. A camera has certain modes, the majority of which are automatic or semi-automatic. You will come across a mode called aperture priority and another called shutter priority and even one that goes by the odd name of programmable auto mode, which I've never found a use for and basically ignore. These modes may be meaningless at the moment, suffice it to say, they are semi-automatic modes. On this course, we are going to dispense with auto settings and set the camera to manual mode. I will show you how to do this as we go forward. It will seem like a lot of information before we start taking photographs, but when you do, you will have a lot more than a basic understanding of how to control your camera and, more importantly, how to control the photographs that you produce using your camera. Quite a lot of YouTube videos about cameras tend to teach you on the fly, and very good they are too, but I'm not going to do that. I am sticking strictly with what your camera is doing and leaving the how to take pretty pictures when you know how to use it. Once you know how to use your camera in full manual mode, you will find that the other modes will be very easy to understand. These other semi-automatic modes will be available for you to use at your convenience, and make no mistake, they can be very handy. You will find, however, that these semi-automatic modes don't always get your exposure right. If you know how to control your camera in manual, then you can quickly take over with the full knowledge that you know what to do. This free course is not to be rushed. If you just want to take snaps, then it's not for you. If you really want to understand your camera, then read on. In this course, I am not going to cover how to take portraits or landscapes or how to get the best composition. All that will come once you know how to use your camera. There is no point taking lessons in different types of photography if you don't understand all the camera terminology and what all the different terms mean. In other words, there is no point learning how to cook if you don't know how the oven works. Take your time and take note of what's important and what can be glossed over. I will point out which is which as I go. You can always go over any of the slides and pause when necessary to try out the various settings. Eventually, we will move on to the flash and explain it in the same manner. Good luck and don't forget to subscribe. The camera. This course is designed to teach you how to use a camera and to understand how you can use the settings involved to take a properly focused, correctly exposed photograph. When you begin to understand the various settings, what they are called and what they mean, you will be able to take better photographs under many different lighting conditions so that when you take a photograph that is too light or too dark or even out of focus, you will understand why that happened and you will have the knowledge to correct your mistake. The camera pictured here is a digital single-lens reflex camera, commonly known as a DSLR. Without going into too much unnecessary detail, it is called a DSLR because there is a mirror inside the camera which enables you to see the view through the lens when you look through the viewfinder as shown in the diagram. When a photograph is taken, the mirror flips up, that's the reflex action allowing light to hit the photosensor. Before the modern age of digital cameras, the photosensor would be film. The sort Dad used to buy on a roll and load into the camera. These film cameras, not being digital, were known as SLR cameras. Notice no D. Film cameras are still commonly used and the basic settings do not differ from the modern digital camera. Mirrorless cameras. Recently, a new generation of cameras have become available. You may have heard of them being referred to as being mirrorless. As it says, these cameras do not have an internal mirror, and when you look through the viewfinder, you are not actually looking at the real world through the lens, you are actually looking at a small screen, like a tiny monitor that gets its signal from the photosensor. Are all cameras the same? Cameras may be different in the sense that they could be digital, or they could use film. They could have a mirror, or be mirrorless. The lenses could be interchangeable so that you can easily remove one lens and attach another that has different qualities such as a zoom, or a wide-angle lens, which we can talk about later. Some cameras, usually the smaller snapshot compact cameras, have a lens that is not removable but may have a small zoom function built in. Slightly bigger than the compact cameras are cameras which have large zoom lenses, though still fixed and non-interchangeable. These are commonly known as bridge cameras, so named as they bridge the gap between the small compact camera and the more professional cameras which have interchangeable lenses. This tutorial is designed for the professional entry-level DSLR, though you will find all the basic controls are the same for all cameras. Scary stuff? I am assuming you are new to cameras and are looking for somewhere to start your learning adventure. If you have your new camera to hand, take a good look at it. Even before you turn it on, it can seem a bit overwhelming. There is hardly a space that the manufacturer hasn't managed to fit a button, a lever, a knob, or some kind of dial. All useful in one way or another. Some more useful than others, and to be honest, some you will probably never use at all. Screens and more screens. If the buttons aren't enough to scare you, what about the digital screens? The main screen, and everyone's peekaboo screen, is usually the one on the back of your camera. You take a photograph and all being well, your photograph appears on the screen for a user-determined amount of time before the screen goes blank. The time a picture stays on the screen is another rather trivial setting, somewhere in the camera's menu system. And if you don't like the photo or there's something wrong with it, you can delete it and take another one, a luxury not afforded to those using film. What else are the screens for? Not only can you see your photograph, you can also access more baffling information, as you can see from these two images. And things can get very complicated. This screen uses a histogram to let you know what your color channels are up to. I think we can forget about this for now. And one last screen. Most DSLRs have a screen on the top, and this is the one that is very handy and the one you will refer to the most. It is also full of a lot of information that can be baffling to the beginner. But we are going to remedy that. At least you may notice the battery is fully charged. Let's make a start. So far, we have seen a small introduction to the camera and what you are letting yourself in for. I hope I haven't scared you off. From here on in it's going to get a lot more complicated. We are going to start from scratch and introduce to you just about everything you need to know to make taking your first photographs as interesting and as meaningful as possible from a technical point of view. A DSLR can be complicated, but taking a photograph and getting a good result is very satisfying. When I started many years ago, I thought I was doing well when I could control the camera settings and get a result better than the camera could do in auto mode. That gave me the feeling that I had made a good start in understanding how to use my camera. If you take your time with all the pages of info in this tutorial, you will be on your way to being a good if not great photographer. Please subscribe and carry on to the next part of the tutorial. And most of all, good luck.